bench. Yeah, this is, well, it's my bench. Yeah, the museum paid for it because I was the curator there. Yeah, and they did that to remember me because, oh yes, I am dead. It's been some adjustment, but not all bad. Yeah, I should probably go and check on the museum, actually. Yeah, I've been collecting the stories of Shelmerston for years now, here in my museum. There are so many stories, and wonderful ones. The museum started off small, but just grew and grew. It's shut at the moment, of course. Not sure what's going to happen with it now that I'm no longer doing it. I do like coming back here, though. Gives me a bit of purpose, which I've really missed since, becoming dead. Oh, one thing that's been keeping me amused. Since I've been dead, I found I can do some, new things. Pretty weird. Yeah, I'm not sure what use it is, but it's been keeping me quite entertained. But the novelty's worn off. I mean, it's been, I don't know how long exactly, but an awful long time since I've had anyone to talk to. Well, anyone who talked back, anyway. No, I couldn't. That sounds like Sparky. Is that you?
Morris, come with me. I need to show you something.
It's Sparky?
Morris, you worked it out.
You can talk?
Well, I could always talk. You just couldn't understand me.
And you can hear me?
Well, sure. You are talking, aren't you?
Oh, Sparky!
What is it, Morris?
It's been so long. I thought I'd had my last conversation. Oh, I'm so very glad.
I'm glad too, Morris. I've been waiting for you. We need to go...
Oh, wait. Are you really my Sparky? My Sparky girl?
Mostly. The best bits. But listen, I don't know how long before the volcano erupts, but it's not long now.
The volcano? Erupting? But it's dormant.
No. It has been dormant because of the custodian. But the custodian is weakening and we don't know how much longer they can hold on.
The custodian? What are you talking about?
Shelmerston is volcanic. It's supposed to erupt every once in a while. The only reason it hasn't is the custodian, keeping the island calm.
Custodian keeping the island calm?
Take your time, Morris. Dogs are better at understanding this kind of stuff than humans.
The custodian is a ghost.
Yes! Now you're getting it. The custodian is a ghost who appeases the island, keeps it safe to live on. But the current custodian has been doing the job a long time and really needs to retire.
Oh, and the island needs a new custodian.
That's right. It's up to us to find a new one. There are 5 prospects that I know of. 5 ghosts still hanging around the island who haven't gone into the west yet. We need to find them and see if they'll take the job.
Well, what if none of the prospects wants it?
If the current custodian fades away and there's nobody to commune with the island's spirit, well, that would be bad.
Bad how, Sparky?
Volcano bad. You've seen how it's smoking. We don't have long now.
Well, could I be the custodian?
Oh, I wish. But Ghost Code 342B dictates that the custodian must be a ghost who has been dead on this island for at least 1,000 days. And we don't have that long.
Ghost Code 342B. Yeah, well, I suppose that makes as much sense as anything else.
Right, let's get going, Morris. Our first prospect is Peter Noach.
Oh, yeah, from the yoga centre. Yeah, he died a few years ago, didn't he? Yeah, I remember his funeral on the lighthouse.
Yes, that's the fella. He always had those funny green treats. Let's go pay him a visit.
Wow, flying! Oh, this feels nice.
What? Oh, right. Oh, you kind of forget about it after a while.
I always was impressed with this yoga centre. Pete seemed like a chap who went through some tough times, and creating this place really seemed to help him.
Yep, and it's still going strong. They're always busy with folks from the mainland.
Yoga centre run by a robot. How things change. Well, it seems to be working out, though. So, now Pete's a ghost, so how do we find him?
Well, remember that clue I sent you from inside my urn? The tag?
Yeah.
Right. So that was something special to me while I was alive that helped me channel my ghost. A kind of memento. So we need to channel the ghost of Peter Noach. And to do that, we need to find his mementos.
And how are we going to do that?
By looking into the memories of those who loved him best. People with memories of Pete will have little thought bubbles coming out of their heads. Those are a sign you'll be able to dive into that person's memory.
I suppose that's hardly the strangest thing I've heard today.
Oh, Morris, just you wait. Now, to recap. Find people who are close to Peter. View their memories. Track down the mementos. And then leave the rest to me.
So people, then memories, then mementos, then Pete. Yeah, think I get the idea. Okay, let's go.
I just got divorced and really wanted to go on a golfing holiday, but my best mate Tammy somehow talked me into doing a yoga retreat instead. I just got divorced and really wanted to go on a golfing holiday, but my best mate Tammy somehow talked me into doing a yoga retreat instead. Yoga made me feel weird and uncomfortable. After the first day, I'd basically given up. I thought Pete was a bit angry with me. It was hard to tell. Exploring the lighthouse, I came across Pete's set of clubs. Bingo, I thought. I wondered where I could practice my drive. Clubs up to the observation deck and spent all afternoon perfecting my stroke. The sun was shining. It was the best time I'd had all week. Suddenly, I was aware of Pete watching me. My heart sank and I braced myself for a telling off. I was. Pete cracked a smile and joined in. Every evening for the rest of that week, we were up on that observation deck, driving balls into the sea. Best holiday in years. I even got into yoga by the end.
I guess old Pete had a light side after all.
Pete was hard to read, you know? Strong, silent type. But you could tell he loved his collection of Buddhas. He said they were like fat little soldiers that kept him safe. To be honest, I thought that was a bit odd. But he was a great teacher. Pete was very protective about his collection. Hated people messing with them, even telling off Em when she was dusting them. One day, one of the Buddhas went missing. Pete was distraught. Not much affected him, so it was a shock for everyone to see how upset he was. All of us at the retreat spent the whole afternoon searching, but we never found it. To cheer him up, Em bought Pete a little toy robot. You could tell Pete was delighted.
Ah, what a lovely gesture. She was a good friend, that Em.
When Pete arrived at the lighthouse, he needed help running it, but refused all offers. Eventually, fearing the possibility of a shipwreck, Trinity House sent me to Shelmerston to help keep things running smoothly. I bought Pete a plant as a welcome present. He introduced himself very quietly, but didn't seem to want to say anything else. He seemed distracted, like gravity was pressing down on him harder than other people. Whenever I would enter a room, Pete would mutter some excuse to leave. I didn't have a single conversation with anyone in months. Eventually, Pete noticed the plant. Then Pete noticed me. That was the start of what became this plant room. We spent hours in here over the years, sowing seeds and tending our plants together.
Wow. Robots got complicated, didn't they? Yeah, I didn't realize how important Em was to Pete. I suppose everyone needs a friend. Ah, Sparky.
I met Pete for the first time on a yoga retreat in Goa. He was the best yoga teacher, but very reserved. I noticed he had some army tattoos. I wanted to ask about them, but he would never talk about himself. When I got home, I looked him up. I couldn't believe it. He'd been with Special Forces in Helmand and was awarded a medal for bravery. Pete's unit had been in an ambush. He tried to save a colleague whose leg had been blown off, but by the time they'd reached base, it was too late. Pete was the only survivor. I booked the retreat again the next year. I thought he was such an interesting bloke. Still waters, you know. And one evening, after class, I followed him down to the beach. I saw him throw something into the water and went to have a look. Picked it out of the shallows before it was washed away. It was his medal. I picked it up. I went back to Goa the following year, but Pete wasn't teaching and it just wasn't the same. Not as good. Then, a couple of years later, I saw an online ad for his new retreat in a lighthouse. I booked immediately. I took the medal with me. Perhaps he would want it back. It was the same Pete Noach, and if anything, he was an even better teacher. One coffee break, when I got him on his own, I brought up Helmand in conversation. I wish I hadn't. It was like a shutter coming down. I didn't mention the medal. I kept coming back for the yoga. And you know, over the years I saw Pete mellow. I think the lighthouse was doing him good. He even cracked a joke with the group once in a while. So, that summer, the one before he died, I decided to act. It was the day I was leaving and I showed him his medal. There was a moment of total surprise. I was worried then. But he took it. He turned it over in his hand. The poor guy was lost for words. He gave me a nod of thanks and slipped it into his pocket. I'm glad he got it back.
Oh, Pete. I had no idea.
I was getting ready to lay my egg. But my nest needed that little something extra. I found the perfect thing. The human and that metal beast seemed quite agitated at their loss.
I always hated those blooming things.
When Pete arrived at the lighthouse, he needed help. I bought Pete a plant. Whenever I eventually... Then, Pete noticed...
I just got divorced and really wanted... Yoga made me feel weird and exploring the lighthouse. I took the clubs up to the opposite... How wrong I was. Pete was hard to read one day. All of to cheer him up.
I met Pete for the first... When I got home, I looked him up. I booked the retreat again. I went back to go with the full... It was the same. I kept coming back for the yoga.
I was getting ready to lay but my nest I found the human and that metal beast seemed quite agitated at their loss. I was getting ready to lay my egg, but my nest needed that little something extra. I found the perfect thing. The human and that metal beast seemed quite agitated at their loss.
When Pete arrived at the lighthouse, he needed help running it, but refused. I bought Pete a plant as a welcome present. Whenever I would enter a room, Pete would mutter some excuse to leave. I didn't have a single conversation with him. Eventually, Pete noticed the plant. Then, Pete noticed me. That was the start of...
dogs are actually very good at solving these. They're just hard for us to turn. Okay, let's find some more memories. This is a conspiracy. Hey, I'm starting to pick up the scent of something else here.
Grenkins?
Yeah, they're tiny spirits, distant relations of the island spirit. Apparently they bring good luck.
Okay, Sparky.
I wonder how many golf balls are in the sea around this lighthouse. Oh, what a nice little fella. I'm glad we...
Okay, that's all of the mementos. Now what do we have to do?
Wow, I'm getting a really strong scent. Well done. I should easily be able to sniff out Peter's spirit now.
All right then. What do you need me to do?
Absolutely nothing. Just let me do my thing.
What in the world?
There's many things in the world you haven't seen, Morris.
Those things,
Yep. Yep. Those are all of Pete's fragments. I just need to round them up.
Well, go get 'em, girl. Pete! Oh, wow! It's really you! Well, it's me, Morris. Morris Lupton.
Of course I remember you, Morris. It's lovely to see you. How's death treating you?
Oh, well, you know, it's a bit jarring, but, well, I'm having a nice enough time. But listen, Pete, we've come to ask you something. Do you know about the custodian?
The custodian? The person who communes with the island, yes? I've noticed the volcano looks like it's waking up.
Yes, well, that's the thing. We need a new one.
Oh, me? To be the custodian? Oh, Morris, I'm flattered, but I don't think I'm the one for this job. I spent my whole life and my whole afterlife trying to find peace. And lately, I think I found it. I'm satisfied with how things turned out. I'm finally ready to go into the West. I don't want to stay around any longer.
Well, fair enough.
Would you want to come with me? I would be grateful for the company.
Well, that's kind of you, but I do really need to help find a new custodian. Maybe afterwards.
I understand. Well, best of luck with the search then. I'm sure you'll find someone perfect for it.
Well, that didn't go well.
Oh, no worries, Morris. Plenty of other prospects. Well, 4.
Hey, Pete mentioned going into the west. What is that?
Oh, well, that's a very complicated question, Morris. Just think of it as leaving all this behind, which is not something we can do now. We need to go find Val. They're opening the sculpture park today.
Oh, is that opening already? Time certainly does move a bit quicker once you're not in the world. Talking to people, it all feels so distant. Though, if I'm being honest, I suppose I was a little buried in the museum those last few years after... well, you know... you might say I started living like a ghost well before I became one.
Oh, you weren't a ghost, Morris. That museum is full of life, and ghosts can't give belly rubs anywhere near as well as you did, trust me. Now let's get going. We're gonna find Val.
Ah, yes, Val. I do feel a bit sorry for her, having her home invaded by all these silly artists.
Maybe, but at least we have a laird who's interested in doing nice things for Shelmerston.
I suppose so. I was never sure about letting all those artists stay on Shelmerston, but I must admit that his heart's in the right place. Well, let's find Val then. After you, Sparky. How the park has changed. I barely recognise it anymore with all these artists buzzing about.
Oh, they're not so bad. So many different and exciting smells.
Yes, well, you and I have always valued different things in smells.
And now we need to sniff out Val. Just like before, let's find some people with memories of her and track down those mementos.
Gloves! I love them. I can't get enough gloves. I stole farmer's glove. I stole the fisherman's glove. I saw that girl out in my woods, riding that strange bumpy beast around again. She really seemed to love that awful creature. This was an opportunity I wasn't going to miss. Lovely gloves.
I always did suspect there might be something in those rumours about camels on the island. All that time, and Val never let on. Bless you, Val.
Hey, Morris, I bet you wish you were alive so you could rub... I'm getting this... Oh no, not this guy.
Hello, ready for some fun?
Oh, hello.
I'm Mr. Whitstable. Welcome to Mr. Whitstable's riddle game.
Morris, we don't have time for this. Let's get back to work.
Mr. Whitstable just wants you to enjoy yourself, solve my riddles, and achieve true happiness.
Oh, these do seem kind of fun.
Whatever, Morris.
Oh, Sparky. Okay, Mr. Whitstable, what do I have to do?
Hooray! Just select one of my fiendish riddles, then go off and find the object it's referring to. Easy.
Ha! Oh, we got this. Come on, Sparky.
Mr. Whitstable is...
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Whitstable. These riddles...
They are hard. Maybe unfair too. But...
No, I'm sure I can...
Okay, Morris, I'll give you another chance. You'll have to go back and choose which riddle you want to look for.
Oh, will do. Oh, thanks, Mr. Whitstable. I won't let you...
Morris! Okay, we're in the right place.
After my wife Penny's death, I struggled to find ways to spend time with my daughter. It had hit us both hard, but, you know, stiff upper lip and all that. I always found it best to keep busy. Looking for something we could do together, I bought Valerie a set of paints. But she never even opened them. I was cross at first, but asked myself, what would Penny do? So I decided to let it go. Then one day I managed to talk her into coming into the park with me to paint some of the nature she loves so much. She wasn't very enthusiastic, but agreed to give it a try. It was a disaster. Valerie simply didn't have the temperament for painting. She had a huge, silly tantrum and threw all the paints away. I told her I wasn't having this kind of childish behavior, and I told her to stay in her room until she had calmed down. I wished Penny was still with us. She would have known what to do with the child.
Very hard, that, to lose a parent. Was never going to be easy after her mum died, but he always did seem distracted with his fancy art projects.
I spent the summer of '83 with Henry Outram, Laird of Shelmerston, in his grand hall working on a new piece. It was supposed to be about the volcano, but once I arrived, I found myself particularly taken by all the vales around the island. Henry was a delightful host, always excited to have us bright young artists around, and always ready with a charming question or a fortifying glass of something. His daughter, I think her name was Mallory or Valerie or something, was usually outside roaming the grounds. Henry said she was discovering herself and learning self-reliance through independent play. She seemed feral to me. One day, I came across the perfect finishing touch to my sculptural masterpiece, but it turned out to belong to the wretched child. I tried to explain to her why I needed it, but she snatched it away and walked off. I went to Henry, thinking he could make her give me the boat, but to my astonishment, Henry told me it was up to her if she wanted to give it to me. Henry called his daughter and we all talked about it. When Henry suggested that maybe I could buy the boat, her little eyes lit up. It cost me £200 for that little wooden boat, but it was worth it.
Henry was a good dad at heart, caring about Val's feelings, and treating her like a grown-up even when she was little. Partly how she became so independent, I reckon. I know it was tough on him, but they both turned out pretty well.
I wonder how many people even saw this.
In the last summer, before our GCSEs, Val and me spent a lot of time together, usually wondering how we could get our hands on something to drink. No one on this stupid little island would serve us, though. One day, we were hanging around on the allotments near the quay when we spotted something. And so, later that night, we went into the woods behind Val's house to drink it, sitting on top of that ancient stone that they say protects the island. But there was no way we were going to get through it all, so we decided to bury the rest. A few weeks later, we went to dig it up again, but couldn't remember where we dug the hole.
There is so much of our history buried on this island.
Wow, Morris, this smells incredible. I'm getting scallops, I'm getting peaty bogs, I'm getting roast lamb. Woof!
Yeah, painting really wasn't for Val, was it?
The famous sculptor Vernon Russet was working on a huge statement piece in my honour, a statue of a camel with my head. When I saw it, I felt quite uncomfortable, but I didn't want to upset him. Poor Vernon could be awfully temperamental, sinking into dark moods for days. The week before the public unveiling, Vernon had me visit the statue. He needed to make some final adjustments to the face. Valerie came along too. She looked like thunder. She hated that statue and wasn't afraid to show it. I couldn't help thinking how like her mother she was. When the statue was revealed, the nose was missing. Fortunately, we all managed to cover our surprise and act like nothing was wrong, so no one was any the wiser. Some fellow from the Times wrote a glowing review, so Vernon wasn't too glum about it. I'm pretty sure I know what happened to that nose. Aha, the old Outram spirit. Good for you, Valerie. Your mother would have been proud of you.
This thing looks heavy. I'm surprised Val was able to even lift it. Oh, yes! I know what Val smells like now. Her signal is wafting through to me very clearly. Time to fly.
Morris? Morris Lupton? Is that really you? And Sparky?
Val! Oh, it's so good to see you again.
You too! You're looking very,
Dead?
Yeah. But quite good, considering.
Hello, Val.
And Sparky talks now. Death certainly has been strange. What brings you by?
Well, we're trying to find a replacement custodian. You've surely seen the volcano.
Oh, yes. Poor Aggie. Must be very tired.
Aggie?
Aggie is the current custodian.
Oh, well then, yes. We were hoping you might replace Aggie.
Oh, Morris. That's some ask.
Oh, you can do it, Val.
I'm flattered, but those are enormous shoes to fill. And I'm not like you, Morris. I don't love this town like you do. And, if I'm being honest, I can't abide all those arty types and mainlanders tromping around. I can't speak for them. This job isn't for me.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Val. But, well, I understand.
Thank you. It's been so nice to see you again.
You too, Val. Sparky, I'd love to spend some more time chatting with Val.
Oh, I'm sorry, Morris. We really need to keep this search up. That volcano is looking dire.
Come back later, Morris. I'll be here.
Oh, well, all right, Val. I'll find you later.
Goodbye.
Oh, slow down, Sparky. I need to get some things straight.
No time, Morris. We need to find the next prospect.
Well, it's just that I don't quite understand what we're doing.
We're looking for the custodian.
Well, I get that bit, Sparky, but what does the custodian have to do exactly?
Oh, well, it's hard to explain with your human words, but, the custodian kind of mingles with the island, becomes a part of it.
A part of the rock, the volcano?
Yes, the rock, and the sea, and the animals and plants. The custodian becomes a part of all of these things. It becomes part of the island spirit.
And you give up being a ghost?
Yeah, well, a walking around talking kind of ghost. Stop being someone who can go into the West. It's quite a sacrifice.
Oh, wow. Well, no wonder Val doesn't want to fill those shoes. Aggie must be a legend.
She really is.
I always thought there are those folks destined to be mayors and, I suppose, custodians. And then there are people like me and Val, destined for smaller lives.
Oh, what? Small? Morris, your heart is as big as the island. Everyone knows that.
I suppose I'm more like one of those island oddities in the museum.
Yeah, and they were always the visitors' favourites. Now, we need to move on. Next up is Ogden Beckett, in the Old Town.
Ogden it is. I'm right behind you, Sparky. So, Ogden next, eh? I'll be glad to see him again.
His music always hurt my ears, but he was good at chin scratchers. Oh, lovely guy. Oh, look, the ferry's coming in. There'll be loads of tourists all over this quayside soon.
Well, I suppose they won't get in our way much anymore, eh, girl?
I remember we was walking home from school, a bunch of us, and I told him my grandad said the lad had a live Bactrian camel living somewhere in the woods. Everyone laughed, but I told them it was true. Ogden didn't believe me. Someone would have seen it. He dared me to climb in and prove it. I told him he'd have to come with me. Sneaking past the big house, we were almost caught by the gamekeeper and had to run. Hell for leather for the woods. We reached the trees out of breath. I was bent double and leant against a tree. Ogden had better breath control and he recovered quickly. He saw it first. The clouds parted, the moon shone down, and Ogden gasped. And then I did too. Was it? It was. The next day we were kicking ourselves. We had no proof. No one was going to believe us. But we knew what we saw.
Oh, yeah, he was a couple of years above these chaps at school. Oh, and he's right. No one believed them. We gave them so much stick.
camels are so obviously a made-up animal? I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris. I'll pop up to let you know when we're close to one.
We were 14 when we started going out. Me and my friend Cassia had started a beach clean at the weekend, and Ogden turned up with his mate Godfrey. I had no idea Ogden liked me. He was the tallest in our year, and we all fancied him. By the time we reached the little cove at the north end of the beach, he'd asked me to come to a concert he was playing in. I said yes. We'd been going out for a few years when I applied to Floristry College on the mainland. I didn't tell Ogden. I didn't believe I'd get in, and didn't want him to think I was trying to get away from him. Ogden might have looked mature and confident, but he was a gentle soul, not nearly as sure of himself as he looked. But I did get in, and he was gutted. I felt terrible. I didn't want to hurt Ogden. He said he didn't mind, but I could see he was covering. My last week on Shelmerston was really hard. Every time I saw him, it felt so strained, and I couldn't sleep. Finally, on my last night, I made a decision. I would take an apprenticeship at the garden centre on the island instead, so we could stay together. It felt like the right thing to do. I would tell Ogden in the morning. But when I opened the door the next day, I found Ogden's sousaphone left on the doorstep. I was terrified. What did it mean? What had he done? I ran down to his house, my heart in my mouth. His mum, she never did like me, was a little bit smug. She told me Ogden had sailed off to New Zealand. He was headed to Christchurch, she said, and didn't know when he was coming back. Then she shut the door. I was more than a bit tearful, but, looking back, I think we both needed to have a bit of an adventure.
I spent a lot of time with Sally during this period. We used to meet up quite often when she returned from Floristry College and I was working at the museum. For a while I thought maybe we would get together. But she always seemed a bit out of reach, sort of distracted. Well, it makes sense now.
How did that get in there?
Yummy kibbles. Kibbles.
I remember when a young Ogden asked to join the Shelmerston Silver Band. I recognised his talent immediately. He could play anything, that lad. Literally anything. Eventually he settled on the sousaphone, which he always insisted on playing with his lucky bronze mouthpiece. One evening after the Silver Band played a storming concert in the Camel, Ogden and Sally got it into their heads to go for a night swim in the harbour, young love and all that. Ogden left his mouthpiece behind, and when we came back the next morning to pack up, it had disappeared. It really rattled him. Ogden was worried he wouldn't be able to perform without it, but of course next time we played, he was just as good as ever. Didn't need any lucky mouthpiece, Sir Ogden. He could play anything, that lad.
Ogden was so talented. A real virtuoso.
Ugh, speak for yourself, Morris. It was a terrible racket.
It was the day of the island cricket match out on the volcanic sandspit. We had lost to Appledore for the past 3 years, and it was my first year as captain. I didn't want another loss on my watch. Ogden had just come back from New Zealand and told me he'd be up for it. I wasn't sure. I remembered Ogden from school. He was lanky and good in the field, but batting... not sure. Ogden showed up with his own bat. He told me he'd won it in a pub in Dunedin and that it had belonged to a famous New Zealand player. I wondered whether I should put him into bat at all, but Ogden whispered to me that he'd been playing on deck all the way home. I knew Ogden wasn't a bluffer, but he was never the guy who got picked for the first team at school. Still, I had nothing to lose. Ogden hit a 6 with his first stroke. We went wild! And just when I thought it must be a fluke, he hit another and another. He was a machine! Ogden hit so many cricket balls out into the sea that we had to stop play. We'd run out. It was a stunning win, and we carried Ogden back across the sand and into the Camel. Even though he'd won the match pretty much single-handedly, he insisted it was all down to the bat and plenty of practice. Ogden was solid gold.
How's that? What a great day that was. And we've beaten Appledore every year since. Those poor chaps never did recover from Ogden's incredible batting.
Hey, Morris, remember when we found one of these heavy balls?
I missed Ogden so much, and for the first month there was no letter at all. I took my place at college on the mainland without knowing how he was feeling. It was a shock how low it made me, even though I was working with flowers, my dream job. I threw myself into making friends and working as hard as I could. I wondered about him travelling the world, without me and without his sousaphone. What he was doing, how he was feeling. The letters started arriving, and it was amazing. Each one came with a penny from a different country. One from Valparaiso, another from Dakar. I wrote back and told Ogden about my course, trips to Kew Gardens, which were amazing. And Ogden told me about his voyage, watching dolphins and flying fish, crossing the equator. Sometimes we were both lonely. We poured out our hearts to each other. In a funny way, I think the letters made us closer than ever. When he arrived in Christchurch, he'd send me flowers pressed in his letters. I sent him a shell from home, and then he sent me a New Zealand halfpenny. It was my favourite. On one side was the head of a Maori tiki. Ogden told me it was lucky. I came back to the island, and when my father died, I opened up my own florist shop on the quay. I tucked the halfpenny under the front step for luck, polished up Ogden's sousaphone and put it in the window. They both brought me luck, and the shop flourished. One day, Ogden showed up at the shop, completely out of the blue. He told me there was nowhere like Shelmerston, and no one like me. I was so thrilled to see him, I asked him to marry me there and then. He said yes.
The lure of Shelmerston. It always pulls people back when they try to move away.
They seem to have been using it as a funnel. These bootleggers are very...